saying this for months. The clock is ticking on default. It continues to tick. The government could start defaulting on loans as early as Tuesday if the debt ceiling deal is not reached. So let me bring in Democratic strategist Maria Cardona in Washington and Republican strategist Lenny McAll in Chicago. Friends of our show here on CNN Saturday morning, guys. Good to see you both. I have said for a while, they're crazy, but they're not this crazy. All right? Okay, go through what you got to do your fighting, but I didn't think we'd get this close. Maria, did you?
I actually did have an inkling that we would get this close, TJ, and for the following reason. And I've been saying this for a very long time on your show. When the Tea Partiers got elected, I knew, and a lot of people knew, that the GOP was going to have an issue with trying to both ensure that they were in line with the Tea Party folks, as well as making sure that they were seen as reasonable. And sometimes those two things are not in the same category. And that's what we're seeing play out right now, where you saw John Boehner in the last 2 days having to kowtow to his Tea Party caucus, adding a balanced budget amendment at the very last minute for his plan that was already dead on arrival in the Senate. Well, so I did have an inkling that this was going to get to this place.
Well, Maria, it sounds like, and Lenny, you tell me if it sounds the same to you, that she is putting this squarely on the Tea Party folks up in Washington, D.C. Now, is that fair? And if those folks weren't there, would a deal had been done weeks, months ago?
Well, the Tea Party folks at least brought the spending issue to the table, but if the Tea Party folks are inflexible, the Democrats have been flat out lazy because they haven't put a budget on the table for the last several years. This is something they could have addressed while they had a supermajority, while they had this huge majority in the House of Representatives. They went after Obamacare. They abdicated their responsibility to the American people when they had a chance to deal with this previously. Now you had these Tea Party activists that came to Washington on the backs of the Democrats' laziness in dealing with this. So now they're the other extreme. Somewhere in the middle, we have to get America back on track. It may not be with the extremism of some of the Tea Party activists, and I say some, just as much as it's not going to be with the extreme of some on the other side of the aisle.
Well, Lenny, it sounds like there, and you have been, I mean, I don't know the right thing to call a Tea Partier or the correct way to say it. I know you've spoken some rallies and you've done some work with them, but it sounds like to you, you're saying as well, you can't be inflexible. You have to be a little willing to give. Do you see that the Tea Party, in your opinion, is not giving at all, and that's the holdup?
There are some that are not giving. I'm not going to say everybody in that caucus, but there are definitely some that have been inflexible. The bottom line is we didn't get here overnight, and we're going to have to progress our way past and through this. Well, there were some that said that the Republicans had a big win. They should have taken advantage of it this time last week and got us past this crisis.
Well, Maria, that some he may speak of, some could be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, but those some seem pretty powerful right now.
Well, that's exactly the point, TJ, and I wrote a piece on CNN.com about this. It's called The Tyranny of 87, which is when you put that much power in the hands of a very small group of people, especially people who have never governed before, have no interest in compromising, and are so inflexible, and it's either their way or the highway, the American people at the end of the day are the ones who are going to get hurt, because a couple things may happen. If we go into default, or if our credit rating is lowered to AA, which the Tea Partiers don't think is a big deal, there will be a huge tax increase on every single American in this country in the way of increased interest rates. So for a group of people who are just adamantly against tax increases, this is not something that they understand. And that is something that the GOP is going to continue to have a problem with.
All right, well, Lenny and Maria, I'm going to have you all back. You'll be with me next hour. Certainly appreciate you all starting to join us a little earlier here on CNN Saturday morning, because there is so much going on in D.C. But Lenny McAll, Maria Cardona. Maria, I will I'll tweet out and Facebook out your article, The Tyranny of 87. Let everybody get a good read at that. But I'll see you guys here in the next hour.
Thank you.
Thank you.